What's going on, guys? Welcome to part 2 of the series Normalizing Honesty in the Automotive Industry. Part 2, we're going to be calling this one accountability. Accountability, what does that mean? I interpret it as being responsible for something that you do or say, right? We'll base accountability and my reference to accountability off of that definition for the remainder of the video, just to make it, you know what I'm saying. This week, I had 2 situations that I'm going to go through. The first one, a customer brought me his truck. The truck had been sitting for about a year and a half, has a misfire, and, you know, when he got here, I was like, okay, take me through it. Like, what have you done? Why has it been sitting? How long has it been going on for? And essentially, the backstory of this truck, the owner was driving it semi-daily, like at least every couple days, and then all of a sudden it developed a misfire. And this is a 2006 GMC 1500 with the 5.3, I believe, Vortec. So plenty reliable platform, plenty like common platform. Should be pretty straightforward, right? So he tells me, driving it every couple days, and then all of a sudden it started misfiring, and he took it to a local shop, and they were like, yep, probably needs a new motor. I'll go more into that in a second. After that, he's like, yeah, no. So he lets the truck sit, and then I believe recently he got it back up and running, like he started it again and got it running because he's like, okay, like I need to get this thing back on the road. So a year and a half has passed, and he was trying to get it to pass emissions so that he could get it registered, but with a P0300 code, you can't pass emissions because it's an emissions related DTC. But really, with any DTC, you're not going to be able to pass emissions. But he's trying to get it to pass and goes to AutoZone, pulls the codes because like it fails, and so he's like, okay, what the heck? And he takes that information to another shop, not the one that recommended the engine replacement, another shop, and he's like, hey, I need this to pass emissions. Like, can you figure out the issue? That shop tells him, I'll pass your emissions for $100 under the table. Not even joking. Like, those are the only 2 shops that he's been to, and both of them, stay with me. So he didn't feel right about that, thank goodness. Didn't go through with that. And so he brought it to me, and I get into it, and I pull the codes. Sure enough, P0300 random cylinder misfire, or just misfires, right? Like, it wasn't nailed down to one cylinder. From there, my reasoning was, it's been sitting for a year and a half. It's got bad gas in it, right? Like, I smell the gas and it's terrible. So I'm like, I know it was misfiring previously, but we got to fix the obvious thing first, right? So went and put fresh fuel in it, ran a bunch of seafoam through it, and it started running noticeably better by the end. And we decided, you know, I was like, okay, it seems like it's getting better. I would go drive it for a little bit and clear that old gas out of there, because there was still a bit left in the tank. I can't drain a full tank. Like, I have nowhere to put old gas, so I just did my best there. Filled it up with premium. Again, seafoam. Anyway, he leaves, and I've been kind of just brewing on that the past couple days, because the first shop is like a higher standard shop. I haven't really heard much complaints about them, and they look professional enough, but like, to come up with the answer of, yep, your motor's blown, you need a whole new one. Are you joking? What kind of diagnosis is that? That's not, you could go to trade school for a year and a half and be able to make that recommendation. You could go straight out of high school. You could get a job straight out of high school and make that kind of recommendation. That's not a professional recommendation, for the love of God. Like, are we serious here? Are we serious? Didn't do a compression test, didn't scope the cylinders, didn't pull the oil pan, didn't do an oil test, didn't do anything, just recommended the motor be replaced. You're joking. That's embarrassing. No wonder people don't freaking trust mechanics. Because to the outside eye looking in, I look the same as that shop, if not worse, because I don't have the shop. I don't have the overhead. I don't have these techs. So I'm immediately seen as less experienced, but I can tell you that I would go through hours of diagnosis to then come up with, yeah, your motor is blown. There's no other possibility. And it's situational, right? I'm not saying it takes me hours to diagnose a bad motor, so don't construe it that way. What I am saying is it takes zero brain power to go, no diag, engine replace. Engine no run good? Engine replace. You're dumb. Sell me your shop. If you're seeing this and you own a shop and you make recommendations like that, sell me your shop. I will do 10 times better work than you. I guarantee it. I'm getting flustered because to bring it back down, to bring emotion back out of it, to push emotion back out of it, the trust that you have to put into somebody to give them your vehicle and have them work on it, I would say that takes a pretty considerable amount of trust. Because that has to cross the threshold of like, okay, this person knows better than me. It's expensive, but oh well, they know it, I don't. If you're coming to that conclusion and you want it professionally fixed or you need it professionally fixed, the shop that you choose should not make such silly recommendations. Absolute brain dead recommendations. Horrid. I feel like I'm spending a bit too much time on this, but that was trash. That was horrid. If anybody ever asks me what shops to not trust, that one just made it to the top 10. Like, disgusting, stupid, horrendous. Then the second one, with the emissions under the table. I don't see that as much a situation trying to screw the customer over. That's not really being dishonest for the customer's sake. Well, I mean, it is for the customer's sake, because it's like, okay, you need your vehicle registered. I'm willing to lie and be an asshole and not follow all of these procedures that I have signed that I will do time and time again, because the EPA is very on top of that. I'm willing to forsake all of that for $100. $100, that's all it takes for this person, for this shop, to break the rules. You think the implication of that is you think that shop is not gonna screw you over for a couple grand? Even if not a couple grand, $200, $300, $400, because they will. That's trash. That situation told me everything that I need to know about that shop, on top of another experience that I had that I'll go over here in a little bit from that same shop. But that's gross. That's stupid. That's high school bullshit. But yeah, that situation, that willingness to be able to do that, and oh my god, it's just like, you're not a professional. I'm sorry, you're just not a professional. You're a damn monkey with a wrench in his hand. That's all you are. Like, you're living up to everybody's expectations of the automotive industry being a bunch of fucking idiots with wrenches. Thank you for that. Thank you. Stupid bastards. That's situation one from this week. Situation two, I had a customer with a Subaru Forester, and he brought it to me a couple weeks ago and had some emissions related codes, the catalytic converter code. It was P0420, and I diagnosed it, and I was like, yeah, your cat's definitely out, but let's talk about why it went out. Like, I grilled him and asked him all the background on the information, or all the background on the car. And through that, I discovered, he told me that the engine was consuming, he called it leaking, but consuming oil at a rapid pace, like 1 quart every 500 miles. And I was like, that doesn't sound normal. That doesn't sound good. And he thought he had a big leak because another shop told him that he had a leak, a big leak that would do that. I look underneath it, this thing is dry. Agony. It just hurts me every time. Like, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. Anyway, bring it back down. Engine is consuming 1 quart every 500 miles. So I'm like, okay, shit. There's only a couple things that we can do here short of tearing down the motor. We have to do these checks and replace these parts. Because I was like, you're at 170k miles, your PCV valve might be going out, and some of your other like crankcase what is it called on the Boxer? It's like the combination valve that sits on top in between the valley, you know, on the driver's side, where it's got the coolant pipe coming in and crankcase pressure going out into the intake. So I replaced both those things because I'm like, it may be a long shot, but if those are faulty, then it's going to be pulling more oil in. So we may as well try and fix this first. Customer was game, replaced it, sent him on his way, and there was a whole bunch of other work that the car needed done. Like the radiator was starting to crack, spark plugs needed to be done because I could feel like a slight misfire, and I think that's what ultimately took the cat out. But I wanted to get a gauge on how bad the oil consumption was. That was a big thing, because you can replace spark plugs and fix a misfire and replace a cat, but if it's consuming oil, then it's just going to take that cat out. So I didn't want to cost him extra money. And essentially he left for like 2 weeks and then hit me up and rescheduled things, and he had done the math incorrectly. Somehow he was looking at the bottle wrong, and he thought the oil consumption was like up to like 1,000 miles for every quart. And so I was like, okay, that's better. My car consumes about that much, so yeah, like that's probably good. Like looking at Toyota or Subaru specs, they don't want much under 1,200, but I was like, that's really not that bad. Like we should be good. And he desperately needed to get his car registered because it was like 2 months overdue, and he was on extensions. But he gets here, and after he drops it off, he does the math again, and he's like, dude, I'm tripping. It's still 1 quart every 500 miles. So I was like, okay, like I have all these parts sitting here. I was gonna get this job done in 1 day, right? Like just spark plugs, cat, radiator, coolant flush, and I think like a couple other little small things. But when we figured that out, I was like, okay, like no, that's not normal. That's not good. Like we can't move forward with everything else, because at the end of the day, I think your engine needs replaced. This is a great example of me taking all of this information and making a choice, making a decision, saying, yeah, your engine's probably going to need to be replaced. Because if you know anything about those, I think they're FB 2.5, FB 25. I'm not a huge Subaru guy, but briefly looking into it, that motor was notorious for consuming a lot of oil because it had low tension piston rings, because yay, fuel economy, right? And Subaru actually had like a warranty short block for that motor within a certain mileage range and years of ownership, right? And like anything under 1,200, they were replacing. Like if you had to put a quart in every 1,000, they would replace your engine. So looking at all that, I'm like, okay, a quart in 500 miles, like something's not right, something's not good. That misfire I'm feeling could be due to low compression now. Like it's not just an isolated spark issue. Like you're gonna need an engine replacement, dude. And with my current capacity, I don't do engine replacements because I don't have the space for it. And I know as an automotive professional that I am not able to execute an engine replacement at the highest level. So if I can't execute it at the highest level, I'm not gonna do it. Simple as that. I didn't get greedy, see all the dollar signs and like, oh yeah, I can charge him like $2,000 in labor and like make a whole bunch of money off this. Like, no, that's not the thing. That's not what I'm going for. So basically I was like, dude, you're gonna have to go to a different shop to get the engine replaced. I don't even know if it's worth it because your car's really only worth this much. Like we had a full on detailed conversation where I'm like, dude, like what do you want to do? Because this is not what we planned on. This was the worst case scenario. So now that it's here, we need to figure out what we're doing. And by the end of it, he was like, you know, clearly I'm not gonna have you replace all that stuff because ultimately it doesn't make a difference. And I was like, I agree, absolutely. And I mean, I even offered that up front. I was like, I don't think that I should do any of this because it's not going to be worth it. Like, you're just going to be out $1,400 for no reason and still have a car that can't pass emissions long term and have something that's going to take out another catalytic converter. So I was like, yeah, it doesn't make sense to move forward. Like, okay, let's talk about this. And by the end of it, you know, dude was like, I'm really grateful that you didn't try and screw me over, you know? Like, thank you for being forthright, for doing your job properly. Like, I will definitely be working with you in the future. To make a long story short, that's essentially how it went. And did I lose a couple $100 just because of that? Well, potential. Did I lose that much potential income from honesty? Yes. But what did I gain? A really good customer, a loyal customer who I displayed exactly who I am and what I'm about, and he could recognize the level of professionalism that is, right? And he could recognize that I'm not out here to make a buck. I'm out here to get paid according to how I do my job. If I do my job very well, you better fucking pay me. If I don't do it very well, or if something stands in the way where it's like, okay, this isn't feasible for them, I'm not going to reach into your pocket and say, hey, that's mine, you know? Because it's not. That's bullshit. Making money for no reason is absolutely horrid, and this world is absolutely full of it, but that's another story. But with that situation, if that guy had gone to a different shop, they would have cornered him, I suspect. Or like not even take all of the info in. They would take the car in, they'd do the diagnosis. Yeah, you need a catalytic converter. We'll just replace that. Do a couple of these other maintenance items and you'll be good to go. And in the short term, from now, 6 months in the future, that customer would probably be fine. His perspective would be, yeah, I mean, it's still consuming oil, but like check engine light isn't on, engine's running okay, and I passed emissions, like cool. But that 6-month marker hits, same check engine light comes back on, and he's like, dude, what the hell? Goes back to that shop, and they would have to replace the cat again. And he would be furious. Like, what's the deal? What am I paying twice for? Why am I going to buy another catalytic converter when you said that that was the fix and catalytic converters don't only last 6 months? And that shop would have just dragged him along. Unless he found the 5% or fewer shops that actually do their jobs correctly, right? And that would just suck. It would be further confirmation to him that he can't really trust anybody to work on his cars, right? And this guy, it was hard to win his trust over. He was peppering me with questions, which I love, and I'm here for, absolutely. I think that as a whole, we should, like, vehicle owners should be a lot more like that, because the lack of questions I get sometimes is kind of concerning, even though I'm very, like, upfront about everything. I'll go through everything, and then I get no questions back, and I'm like, oh shit. Like, no wonder these shops can screw these guys over. No wonder they're expecting me to screw them over, because I could tell them that their left McGillicuddy hit their right transformer and the truck stabilizer has to be replaced, you know? Like, yeah. So there's situation number 2, kind of gassing myself up. Because again, I'm a small guy and I turn down work in order to like help people out and not screw people over, because I'm accountable. Because I know that in 6 months, if we had just done all that work, it would have fallen right back on me. And then it would have been a headache. And I would have been out several $100s anyway, because I'd have to pay to redo all of it. I'd have to spend the time to get back into it and then pay for another replacement part. This is low-key tying into the first one of like the first part of this series called Play the Long Game. I'm not just looking here, like right in front of me. I'm looking a year down the road, 6 months down the road, of like how does this repair need to go so that I never see this car again, hopefully, right? And I don't think shops are doing that. It's just in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, over and over and over and over again. And the only time that they're really making money is the first in and out. And then after that, they just have to scrape and claw and be stupid. And anyway, I digress quite a bit. I've been just yapping. But talking about readdressing the accountability side of things to kind of bring this to a close. A couple weeks ago, I had a really bad experience with a local Big O. And it was like the second of 2 really bad experiences I had with them. So finally I was like, okay, like they get a 1-star review. So I went and wrote them this big long review, not very emotional, just this is what they did, this is why it's wrong, I'm literally an automotive professional and they did all this wrong. And I got the typical corporate response where I got a phone call from their corporate office and it was like, take us through the experience, and by the end of it they were like, can we give you a refund to make this better and to like get you back in our store? And I was like, honestly, dude, I just want you to train your guys better. Like I could care less about a refund right now, because it was so far, like we're so far removed from that. And my goal here is not money. My goal here is to make you better. And typical corporate response, oh, yep, we got a trainer going up there next Tuesday. Psst. I doubt that, but whatever. I'll take you at your word for now, but I'm not taking my review down. And that's what they kind of alluded to. They were like, like, can you change your review, or just update your review and let everybody know that we talked to you and blah, blah, blah. I didn't say I would. I was just like, no. Like, no, because people need to know. People need to see that Because if they're really willing to take their car there, then they need to understand what could happen. And so with that, I think that as vehicle owners, to better hold shops accountable, we need to be, well, I say we because, like, I mean, I'm saying we as in general, right? You need to write reviews. Like, if you get screwed over, you need to write a review about it. It doesn't have to be a 1-star. It doesn't have to be insane, but it needs to be documented. Otherwise, these shops are just going to keep doing exactly what they're doing and be just fine about screwing people over. And I'm so sick and tired of it. I'm so sick and tired of it. It's so gross. Like, being somebody that grinds for this shit and learns everything that he can for this shit, the fact that people are out here just making money off of recommendations they know to be wrong, or not being educated enough to make a correct recommendation, cut that shit out. And it starts with us, because internally they can only hold themselves accountable if they have somebody powerful at the helm. If the shop owner has integrity. If the shop owner doesn't have integrity, then as a service advisor, why the hell would I want to have integrity if I can just screw people over and not have any repercussions because of it? And I know that it's not always that dynamic. It's sometimes the shop owner has integrity, but everybody else doesn't, right? But regardless, internally, there's only so much that they can do, and there's only so much that they're willing to do because of the money. But yeah, as consumers, as vehicle owners, we need to be able to have those hard conversations where it's like, dude, you suck at your job. Like, no, I'm not paying you. And yes, I'm putting my foot down. Like, I'm not paying $900 for a brake job. Like, you're full of shit right now. And I think, like, teeing off of that, something that I want to do, a video series that I would like to do is educating you, the consumer, and like vehicle owners in general, how to be more aware of their vehicle and how to how to take that knowledge and turn it into holding shops accountable. Because cars are complex. Absolutely. There's a lot of things on there that I don't think that you should even touch. However, that does not mean that you have to be completely in the dark about everything. You can have a basic understanding of what things do and what needs to be done at what times. That's all that has to be. And I think starting there will force shops to not be so dishonest, because they're preying on your lack of knowledge to be dishonest at the end of the day. They're not always bad people. They're not always, super scummy and scammy. They're low-key just capitalizing on their position, because they're here and you're here in terms of knowledge about cars. So they're like, I don't really feel like explaining this to this person, and this is just wrong enough that I can feel okay recommending it, so I'm gonna recommend it, and that's just bullshit. So that was part 2. If you guys have any recommendations for what specifically I should go over in future videos, please let me know down in the comments. Let me know what you thought about this in the comments as well. I know that I'm not fantastic at this whole series thing yet, right? I know that I digress a lot and that I kind of just yap. However, this is something that I'm really passionate about, and I really want to put my heart out there, and I gotta start somewhere. And I've been really bad with this content thing, so I'm really forcing myself to just get into it. I know this video isn't perfect, but this means a lot to me, and I'm not just here for the short term. I'm here to make a name for myself, and I will do that. I will achieve it. I know that I will. So if you want to join me on my journey, hit subscribe below. That would be awesome. And stay safe out there, guys. If you need a mechanic, let me know. Northern Utah. And until next time, guys, peace.